Hey, Will.
Hi, Patrick. How you doing?
We are here with a special man, a special guest from Chair, Donald Mustard. You CEO, President? What's the official title at this point?
I'm the founder and I'm the creative director.
Look, even fancier.
Yeah. Staying on the creative side. That's a good move.
Right.
So we are here to take a look at Infinity Blade DOS.
I noticed it was Roman numerals and not Arabic. Should we get into that, or are we going to just play the game?
Yeah, if you want. I mean, we can talk about whatever you want.
That sounds like the most important part of
it's the first thing I thought of.
Game. So this is Infinity Blade, a game. Everyone kind of, after Shadow Complex, I think expected you guys to kind of roll into something, and a sequel to that. But you guys came out of nowhere. Infinity Blade, huge success on iOS, and now you guys are here with the second one.
Yeah, we were just thrilled with the success of the first game. It was really kind of an experiment for us. We just wanted to, we really wanted to see what was going on with this market that was just blowing up huge. Mobile games were just accelerating like crazy, and the wizards at Epic had managed to get the Unreal Engine 3 to work on these devices, and we thought, we needed a killer app to kind of show off what these devices could do. And so we made Infinity Blade, and it just was a huge success for us, and we thought we had a lot more that we could push with this genre of game and this style of game, and that's why we've made Infinity Blade 2.
So this is picking up where the first game left off, or is this is the very beginning of the game that we're looking at right now?
This is the very beginning of the game, and it does pick up pretty much where the first game ends. So the first game ends with our hero Cyrus having defeated the God King, right? And so we kind of find ourselves, or Cyrus finds himself in a situation where, I don't think he ever actually expected to win. Here's this guy who, this entire bloodline is basically trying to get revenge for your father's 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 father that's, constantly being killed by this God King. And Cyrus goes to go up against the God King, and we assume Cyrus was whoever you were playing when you killed the God King.
Okay.
And,
so it doesn't matter where in the cycle you ended, it kind of all picks up.
It kind of all picks up here. So Cyrus was, this guy who had trained his entire life to try and go up against this deathless...
Presumably to fail.
Right? He thought, if I can just scratch this guy even...
That's a victory.
That would be a victory. But instead you end up, slamming the Infinity Blade through this guy's chest. And so Cyrus is kind of left with the question of, what next? Who even am I? What do I do now? And so he thinks...
Hadn't thought about his long-term plans.
Not at all. And so basically he decides that he's going to try and set out and find the creator of the Infinity Blade, who is this legendary figure only known as the Worker of Secrets. And he thinks...
So you're not going to be at the end of this game, are you? You're going to fight an in-game model of Donald Mustard?
No, you're not. Yeah, not
Donald Mustard's head on a stick like Doom 2?
It's a really small hole.
You know what? We totally thought about it wrong. We should have totally done that.
Could have pulled the John Romero.
That's right. You come into the offices of Chair and it's like, Cyrus.
Hey, you know what? That is what DLC updates are for.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be the first update to Infinity Blade. You must fight.
You have heard it here first. It's going to go into super realistic graphics, graphic violence to dismembering Chair employees.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's going to be great.
So the gameplay in the first one was, the easiest comparison was to something like Super Punch-Out. What kind of tweaks have you guys made to what you're able to do this time around?
Well, so one of the really cool things about Infinity Blade 2 is we've added a lot more customization, just across the board. So one of the big things that we've added this time, and maybe I'll actually jump to it, is we've added 3 different weapon classes in the game. So, like right now I'm playing with just kind of the standard sword and shield, where I can have a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. But I can now equip, here I'll actually show you guys right now. So if you look here, so I basically have got light weapons, which are your typical sword and shield class.
Stuff?
Well,
Okay.
it's more like just swords and stuff that I can hold with one hand.
Okay, so short swords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got the new class, which is a heavy class, which is much bigger things like axes and maces and things that I can only hold, that I need to hold with 2 hands. Mm-hmm. And the advantage of those is they do just massive, massive damage, except when I'm using them, I'm much slower, so I can't dodge. So now we've added the ability with this class equipped that you can directionally block. We also have dual weapons. which are much, much faster, quicker weapons that I can use. I basically have one in each hand, and I can dodge much quicker, and I can do much, much bigger attack chains and combos. We've also got lots of new stuff, swords and shields and helmets and lots of stuff to find.
When you're dual wielding, do you lose block and you can only parry at that point?
You do. You lose block and you can only dodge and parry, but instead of your block button, you now have a duck button.
Oh, okay.
So you can dodge underneath attacks and things like that. Here, in fact, why don't we jump around and I'll show you. Actually, let me show you some different stuff. So I'm going to jump to a different save slot now.
Ooh.
This is my Jason Fleming save slot.
The most specialist of save slots.
Yes, exactly. And here, I'm in a different environment, a different phase of the game. And here's a much higher level enemy for me to face off with. So this is actually a pretty high level guy. I'm pretty high level at this point.
I remember correctly, in the first one, couldn't you just pan from left to right? You couldn't look all around, or
no, you could look all around.
All right.
And so I've got a little bit of money here, so I'm going to buy a new weapon. What do you guys rather see first? A dual weapon style?
Let's do some dual.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to... That's a cool looking weapon. Yeah, that's a little too expensive for what I've got.
There are 2 sets of gem slots for some of these weapons?
There are. There's some can have even up to 3 different ones. So let's actually... Let's get something with a few slots in it too, so we can see some stuff. So let's buy this one. So I'm going to buy this weapon. So now I've got these 2 equipped, but I'm also, let's put some gems on it. So I've got these gems here, and like this one that I have here, well, this is like a circle. I can just drag it in, and now that will add 40 attack to this sword. And I also have a square gem. This is a fire attack gem. So I'm going to add this. So now in addition to doing 28 damage, I'm adding 40 plus that 34 in fire, so it can really kind of boost up my stats.
And is that stuff permanently attached to the weapon at that point, or can you remove it?
It is. I can remove it for a cost. So like now that I've put it in, so I could either sell this gem for a few $1,000s, or I can remove it for. It's a pretty nominal fee. I mean, it's just to really discourage you from constantly
But
swapping.
you do have the option if you have like a weapon you really like and you feel like you've ruined it because you need to respect it.
Like for me, like I got this plus 40 attack gem, and that's like a super rare thing, and I'm like, so I'm constantly moving that through all my weapons because I'm like, I want that huge stat boost. So my guy that I have kind of loaded out right now, I'll show you. So I've got, these, I pretty much have these attack gems loaded all through my my character set right now, where I've got like on my helmet right now, I've got like all these attack gems boosting it up. I've pretty much put attack stuff on my guy everywhere. I haven't even put him on this guy either.
Yeah.
So like in here, like with this guy, I have this gold plus gem. So I'm gonna like actually load that out with that, so I get a lot more gold. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, like this is a cool perk gem. This will drop more potions on drops. So like that's some cool way I'm going to load out my guy.
So the colors indicate effects and the shapes indicate where you can slot them in.
Where you can slot them in. Yep. So it just adds a lot more customization. So this is one of the new enemy types in the game. This is one of the guys that have staff, so they're much, much quicker enemies. So you'll notice, again, like underneath, so I've got these dodge buttons, but I've also got this duck where I can duck under stuff.
Okay.
And because of that, I can unleash these huge double hit chains, which is really, really cool.
Uh-oh.
But he's got these high-level elementals, so I need to be careful at what I'm doing. Oh! I'm going to suck if I don't
you're about to die,
being
dude.
Careful. All right.
Also, you seem to be poisoned.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to actually look at my phone when I'm playing instead of looking at
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to watch the phone, not the TV.
Exactly.
Have you changed the parry system at all? It seems like you were... I mean, of course, you're probably much better at this game than I am, but parrying was always a little bit of a challenge for me in the first game.
You know what? We really want you to parry. Parrying is really what we think is one of the more fun things to do in the game, so we've done a lot to really refine the parrying system and make it a lot more accessible.
Okay.
So yeah, I think people will start to rely a lot more on parry this time around, or at least should. Give it another try, because it's really fun when you do it.
Is it still swipe counter to the direction of the bad guys?
It's either or. So you either can swipe into the attack or opposite the attack to do it. So magic also returns. So I'm gonna. Oh, I'm not gonna heal myself yet. Oh, this doesn't do it fast enough. Okay.
It's a lot of HP.
Well, I have a pretty high level magic ring that I've attacked. So again, with this I can unleash these kind of big triple hit combos where I can do these big, massive double hit spin attacks. And that lets me just do huge damage to these guys. So the advantage of the dual sword class is that you can do many, many more hits than you can with any other classes. Again, the disadvantage is I've got to really rely on my parrying or my dodging.
Do you import your character from the end of Infinity Blade 1? Is that, or are you starting with like a base level?
You start fresh. Well, and that will kind of actually come out in the story a little bit as people play it. So actually, one quick thing to note. So again, I'm much further in the game at this point, but this tree that you see that's growing up and kind of wrapping around the castle is something that's happened over time. When I first started playing the game, this tree wasn't here. And as I've gone through Bloodlines, I'm on like Bloodline 15 or 16, that tree has slowly grown through the castle and eventually opened up this pathway that I can now take up to a whole different area of the game. I'm not going to go there now, but
there's a little more dynamic elements
there's
to what's
a lot
changed
more kind
as you
of
come
dynamic
back.
elements in the game. The castle kind of evolves over time. It's a much, much more non-linear experience. Also notice stuff like the light rays going through everything, and all the dynamic stuff. I mean, it's just, we really worked hard to make this be really pretty.
Just in general, it seems like there's a ton more foliage. It's not a barren wasteland as much as a place that feels like there's stuff growing.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff. Again, there's just a lot of stuff in the environment to find, lots of gold bags to click on and increase my money and find lots of stuff. And just a lot more, again, just variety to the environments.
Yeah.
Is the average length of a Bloodline playthrough about the same?
You know, we didn't want to totally change it too much. It's probably,
There's a new icon over there on the right.
There is a new icon. We'll get to that in a second. So yeah, the game is much, much longer this time. If the first game was, pretty much, 8 to 10 fights to the God King, repeat, that's the game.
It felt like it was 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get through,
probably,
at least like once you'd kind of gotten it down.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, I noticed my style, a Bloodline is about, and granted, there's a lot of different pathways this time, and so there's there's lots of different high-level kind of bosses to fight, so it could vary on where you're going, but it seems like a Bloodline this time is probably, it's probably half an hour to 45 minutes per Bloodline, and but there's a lot more kind of stuff in there. There's also different kinds of treasure chests this time, and this treasure chest happens to require a large key, which I can find in drops, I can get from guys, or I could come into the store and buy one.
That's a lot of money for a large key.
Well, the keys increase, they cost more over time, so I'm pretty far into it. So they're
so each successive Bloodline, things are going to cost more.
Keys especially. We've also had some cool new stuff. There's a couple little kind of funny things we've put in there. We've added these prize wheels, where I can here, I'll buy one of these and use it. So I can buy these prize wheels and I can give it a spin to get a cool random item. So this is a fun way to find a lot of the more random kind of loot in the game. Maybe I'll get a black key.
No, red gem.
Sweet, that's actually a good gem. Huh, I'm gonna equip that. So that's cool. I mean, that would boost my health by like 1,000, so that's pretty sweet. Cool. So maybe actually, let's jump to even a different environment if you guys don't mind. I'm gonna, let's see, I don't want to do that with my character though, actually. This is actually my personal character, so I don't want to...
You're being a little, this is Ciri's character.
Yeah, this is...
Ciri can play Infinity Blade too?
No, this is Cyrus, so this is the main kind of character in the game. Okay, so with this guy, I'll be a little more... I don't care if I reset my guy.
What is a clash mob?
Clash mobs are coming soon. Those aren't out at launch, but that's going to be awesome. We can talk about that a little bit if you guys want.
Are you, while this is loading up, is there still multiplayer in here at all, or was that an experiment for the first version of the game?
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, so we're really happy with how multiplayer came out for Infinity Blade 1, and we saw thousands and thousands of people playing, and it's really just head-to-head multiplayer. And I think that really works for Infinity Blade. What we've noticed is how we kind of play and interact with these devices has led us to these clash mobs that we're going to be releasing soon. It's not here at launch, but we've decided we want to make a bigger social experiment. What we wanted to do is create a way where you could cooperatively play with hundreds of thousands or even maybe millions of other players. And so the idea of Clash Mobs is that we'll have these daily and weekly events where, let's say there's some huge monster that has 10 million hit points, and you'll get one 30-second turn to do as much damage as you can to this guy. And he'll only be alive for, let's say, 24 hours before he runs away.
So the community's kind of got to rally together.
And we all have to rally together, and if collectively you can defeat that guy in 24 hours, then everyone will get some huge reward.
Okay.
And so if you've participated in that and then it's successful, then you'll get some sort of loot.
Yeah,
so kind of like Nobi Nobi, but more directed and more of a game.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think that that's kind of the way that we want to push the idea of multiplayer on these devices, at least for now.
It makes more sense given the way people use phones and tablets.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like the way we play with these games on these devices, at least currently, it's much more like, okay, I've got 5 minutes right now to do this. And I think connecting with someone, finding someone else that's right there, right then, is kind of hard to do. And so we wanted to come up with a way that didn't require that.
That sounds really neat.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you the heavy style of weapon. So I'm going to buy this guy.
Fearsome.
And let's see if I can do this. Also notice we now have a lot of fights we'll have these new in-game kind of challenges where this one says no blocking, which I'm not going to be able to do because... So now notice with this, I've got no dodge buttons. But where the dodge buttons used to be, I've now got these directional blocking buttons, so I can actually block to the left, block to the right, or block in the middle.
This dude is brutal.
Yeah. He's not a nice man.
So let's see if I am good enough at blocking. So if I can block the right directions, I can pretty much block any attack in the game, which gives this class a pretty huge advantage. The difference is I also get, when I do supers, I get these slash directional arrows that let me set up these huge attack chains. Wow. Where again, see how like in one combo I can drain almost half this guy's energy. So again, this is a class where it will require me to, whoa man.
Oh man.
Okay.
This is a tough game to talk and play.
Yeah. Well, now that he's doing it, I'll actually try. I was showing you that so you can see.
That's your convenient fallback every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Works out well. And
right.
What are scratches?
So scratches are, here, let me see if I can get a few.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Got some...
Maybe, all right, maybe we should exit out of the app and come back in.
Okay.
All right, after some application weirdness, we are back. So this is after you've kind of done a rebirth?
Yes, so this is, I'm on my path to try and find and free the Worker of Secrets.
Is the Worker of Secrets the guy that made the sword?
He is. He's who created the Infinity Blade and was captured by the Deathless and locked in this eternal prison called the Vault of Tears, which is what we're seeing right here on the screen. And Cyrus is determined to free the Worker and convince him to join him in his fight to destroy the Deathless. So,
okay.
I mean, between this and the book that you guys put out, you're doing a lot to really expand the fiction.
We are. That's it's something that we have a strong fiction built around Infinity Blade, and we've got tens of thousands of requests of people just like, I want to know more what's going on in the universe and the story, and so there's just a lot more of that built in this time around. So I've found some gold in the environment. I've got good health, so check out the stats on this guy. So this is the XP bonus for that battle, is to do 10 scratches. So if I do that, I'll get a big kind of XP bonus, and a lot of different battles have that built in this time to encourage you to change up your play style.
Okay.
Because it was very easy to sort of settle into, this is what I do in every battle, and...
Dodge, dodge, swipe, dodge, dodge, swipe, yeah.
Exactly. So with this, again, now I have directional blocking with this kind of weapon.
Oh, and you're using a big two-handed weapon.
I am using a big two-handed weapon. So the cool thing with that is I can do these big kind of attack combos where I can really do lots of damage and I can block directionally. And notice now that I also can get different kinds of blocks. I can get perfect blocks or great blocks, and perfect blocking will allow me to keep all my blocks, so it won't actually decrement my shield.
Oh, okay.
And will actually even give me stuff back. So the better I do, that's same with parries and different stuff. So you can, like there was a perfect parry, which will actually give me a bigger hit window once I open this guy up.
And it looks like there's also dot damage as well. I assume that's like weapon specific.
Where
like he had lightning damage or something like that.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are the perfect slashes and stuff? Is that timing based or is that gesture on the screen based?
with the parries, so with the blocks and the dodges, it's timing based.
Okay.
With the parries, it's timing and directional based.
Okay.
So I need to be the better I'm lined up to what he's actually doing.
Okay.
Rather than just kind of swiping generically in a direction.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like there, I got a perfect parry break, so it totally broke that guy out and gave me those swipe arrows, which allows me again to do this mega damage to this guy and take him out much quicker. So there's rewards for the better you are at timing and getting the direction just right on the stuff you're doing. And that's where he died, because I was doing this lightning damage, so that was carrying over through, so that finished him off.
This dude has a creepy hat on. His horse is
Well,
weirding me out.
He has a horse head.
I've seen that on the internet.
Oh.
Okay, so one-handed weapons with a shield, two-handed weapons without a shield, and dual wielding.
And dual wielding. Yep.
Awesome.
And so that just adds a whole lot to the experience. Also, in addition, I mean, you've seen a little bit. There's just a lot of different environments this time around. And again, the game is just a much bigger affair where you're kind of, to free the worker of secrets, they'll find that there are these different guardians in this castle that you need to take out. So it's basically taking the idea of the God King times 6, right? There's just all these other deathless that you need to track down and try and take out as you go through the game.
Have a perfect run to defeat the...
Yeah, you got to go down their path and take them out. And if they kill you, you'll find yourself back here once again.
So are you using the new iOS 5 stuff to sync save games and stuff across the devices?
We are. That's actually one of the yeah. So we very highly recommend that everyone upgrade to iOS 5 if you want to really take full advantage of all the features of Infinity Blade 2.
Right.
Cloud being one of the big things. It's so awesome being able to. I mean, I can be playing it on my iPhone 4 or my iPhone 4S, and I can equip this weapon, and I could open it up on my iPad 2 right now, and it would just. My character is right there with all the stuff, and it's so empowering.
It's also nice because usually I would just have 2 different characters going.
Yeah.
You know, I have it on my phone, phone one from on the go, and then my iPad one from when I'm just like sitting on the couch. But it's even cool that you can have multiple characters going, but also playing the same one across multiple devices.
Exactly. No, it's really cool to have it. So there's also some other really cool things that you'll be able to take advantage of with iOS 5. iOS 5 has incremental updates. So when we do put out Infinity Blade updates, instead of having to re-download the entire game, you can just download just the difference. So it'll be a 50 megabyte download instead of a 900
That's a lovely
megabyte.
change.
No, I mean, there's so many little things like that peppered through the iOS that it's really worth updating. We've also noticed big performance stuff. I mean, you will get better frame rates on whatever device you're playing if you have iOS 5. I mean, it's just awesome.
And so you're on 3GS and newer on phones, iPad 1 and newer on tablets, and 16 gig iPod Touch, third generation, and newer.
All four
fourth
generation.
Okay.
So another little thing that you notice that we have is, so here's my save slot that I'm playing on right now. I mean, I have lots of different save slots that I can play, but this is one where I've actually beaten the game. And once you beat the game, your save spot expands, and you have a new plus save file that allows you to continue to play the game. So I can continue to play in my main slot, which is what's active right now, or I could switch over to my New Game Plus slot, which allows me to remaster things, and it's kind of a different, very high-end style of play for people, and you can go through multiple rebirths in doing that in New Game Plus. Or continue to max out your character in your main save file. And we put that in as it was a big request from the fans to be able to have not just multiple save slots, but to have breaks within their slot so they could have different kind of options to play. So that's a cool new thing.
And then so the New Game Plus is going to be more difficult.
Yeah, it's
higher
basically
level cap, all that kind of stuff?
New Game Plus. So in my main file, I could keep going, and I keep all my money, I keep all my stats. In New Game Plus, you start the game over from scratch, but you keep your character stats. So I would keep all of my
innate stuff.
I would keep all my skill points that I've earned.
You just don't have the weapons and gems.
But everything goes back to
rings.
nothing, and all the guys are way higher level.
Okay.
So I'm basically buying the lowest end weapons again, but I'm fighting level 100 dudes right to start.
yeah.
Sounds really fair.
It's awesome. No, it's my favorite way to play the game because it's like
well, really forces you to, I mean, you can eventually in Infinity Blade, like if you want to, you could just kind of like brute force your way through.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you want that extra layer of challenge to reformulate your entire strategies of how to play, it's when you're in this weakened state and you really have to be parrying and blocking and dodging and doing all
it
those
really
things.
requires you to rely on your sword fighting skills to kind of get through it. So that's really kind of it. I mean, there's just a lot more we could talk about, but that's really, I mean, the game is just a much bigger, even more beautiful, more refined experience with a lot more customization. There's just tons of stuff to do and see. And we're really proud of how the game came out.
So the game's out December 1st.
December 1st.
Still a Universal app?
Yep, absolutely.
$6.99?
$6.99 Universal app. You guys are gonna love it.
Cool. Well, Donald, thanks for coming by and showing us the game, and then everyone else can look forward to picking up the game soon.
Cool, appreciate it. And you'll even see a few returning guys from the first game. We knew this was a favorite of the fans, so he's made it back in.
Well, good luck to everyone. All right, thanks, Donald.
Thanks, Donald.
Guys.